Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Good evening to you all. Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to Reganelite's Viewpoint here, episode 142 of the series, where we have a look at the UK news. We've got 6 stories to look at tonight, plus a bit of a funny one for those who didn't see over the weekend as well, which I'm going to share with you guys, which you'll definitely get a laugh out of. And we also have a nice funny video at the end of the show as well. A really good one. A nice mockery of Donald Trump, which I know people will look forward to as well here. So we normally go about an hour and a half, I think, roughly is normally what we do here. Just as well, I'm going to be on Discord for a little bit after this show, guys. So if you guys want to come on Discord, onto the voice chat after, it will be the Viewpoint after chat. So I'll be on there. I'll ping the Discord server as soon as I'm on. So if you want to come and chat with me for a little bit after the show, you can do indeed. So I will be looking there for a while. I noticed that last time I did a Discord chat on Wednesday night, a lot of people turned up, which was pretty nice as well. So I'll hopefully, if my voice is okay, I will do one Wednesday night as well. I can say, actually, before we go any further, actually, I'm happy to report I won't have too much wrestling content to deal with this week until the upcoming weekend, which is going to be mayhem for me. But pretty much most of this week is not going to be too stressful, so I can focus a little bit with you on the news and politics this week, which is going to be really, really nice indeed. And a reminder that this Thursday, myself and Jao will be coming together this Thursday at 8 o'clock. Just going to be having a nice friendly chat. We're just going to talk about all sorts of things. So join us. It's just a nice friendly chat, nothing serious, guys. I'm really looking forward to having to chatting to him, and I hope he is too. And it's going to be a fun one. So join us this Thursday for that. I hope you guys do join us for that indeed. And do check out his YouTube channel, guys, as well. I think the link is in the description as well. Good evening to our friend Dave McGuinness as well, the two Davies. If you guys missed the show, missed the two Davies shows today, what on earth were you doing? Please do check them out. youtube.com/2 Davies. Great stuff from them from a Scottish perspective there. Absolutely wonderful man, and I'm delighted to have him on next month for the roundtable on the 23rd of April as well. Really looking forward to having him back on again as well. So good to see you there, my friend. Karen, good to see you there from Lakeland, Florida there. Oh, God, I really do want to go to Florida one day. Just can't go there right now because I wouldn't be welcomed because of things that I've said about Donald Trump online. So, unfortunately. But yes, one day I do plan to come to Florida indeed. Good to see you there, Kevin. And Witchigoff is also there. Hope you're feeling a little bit better today, Witchigoff. Do check out her YouTube channel. Unfortunately, she couldn't go live today. She's not been feeling well. So cross fingers. She will go live tomorrow for a lot of you lovely, lovely people in the chat. Billy Kershaw is also there as well. I see you looking in the chat. And anybody else, I hope you guys are all doing well. We're also live on twitch.tv/ReganElite1 as well. So if you have a Twitch account, you can follow me on there as well. Like I said, at some point in the future, we're going to be having an exclusive live stream on Twitch as well to make them not feel left out. Right, let's get started with our first story today, guys. It's kind of only one that's kind of just dropped in the last few hours because I kind of wanted to hear him finish before anything else here. And this is quite a significant one, really, with regards to the Labour Party. And this is quite interesting indeed, guys. So this one from The Guardian here. I've got it on the right feed. Yeah. Zack Polanski, the Green leader, obviously meets unions in an attempt to get them to switch party funding to the Greens. So the leader is understood to have spoken to trade unions after the party claimed that the working class voters are turning to them. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. This is really, really significant, considering that one of the whole reason of the Labour Party was always to be for a party for the working people, and of course, it always had the support of the support of unions. This is really, really, this could be game-changing if they do. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of union leaders and a lot of organisations that they will like what Zack Polanski has said and listen very carefully to what he said. Some will not be so eager to just make switch over. Some may, some will just kind of sit on the fence and kind of see how the party does at the elections coming up. See how they do in Wales, see how they do here in England. See, they'll kind of take. I think they will want to see how, like, even though polling has been pretty good, these elections coming up, like the Gorton Denton by-election, they were able to put all their force behind it, right? Can they replicate that? They're looking like London could turn quite a bit green with these upcoming elections. So it's going to be interesting. I think you might see some more you may see some unions switching to greens if they have a successful outing here. Now, I haven't actually looked at this, but I did hear Dave McGuinness mention at one point that the Greens could overtake Labour in Wales in terms of polling numbers. That would be hugely significant, because I don't really hear a lot about the Greens in Wales, because you think more about Plaid Cymru there. But again, like, these numbers, these kind of numbers that we've been seeing from Labour, and we're going to get to a poll a bit later on. I think there's a poll later on that I have. Yes, we've got a poll later on that we'll look at from the iPaper, where the Greens have actually the Greens has continued. Greens have the Greens surge as well. So it'll be very fascinating to see there as well. Mandy, good to see you there in the chat. Hope you are doing well. So let's have a bit of a read into what Zack Polanski actually said at this. So he kicked off a charm offensive designed to convince trade unions to stop funding Labour and throw their weight behind the Green Party, as he delivered for the first in a series of speeches at 2A Unions conference. The Green leader has had good conversations with 10 trade unions, including some affiliated to Labour, according to the party's sources, and is due to address the University of College Union and the Bakers Food and Alliance Worker Union, not affiliated with Labour, in the coming months. This is a good idea for him to get in front of the unions and listen to their concerns and whatnot. I think this is definitely interesting indeed. The UK's largest unions, Unite and Unison, were among those that denied negotiations with Polanski and said they remain affiliated to the Labour Party. However, Unite is holding internal discussions about its future relationship with Labour ahead of a special conference in 2017, which it could potentially decide to disaffiliate. So obviously, those two main unions aren't going to switch allegiance, but at least right now, perhaps if they get slaughtered at the elections, maybe they'll have a change in tune. But other unions, obviously much smaller ones, will obviously have a good. I think, considering what some of the Green Party policies are actually beneficial to unions anyway, when you listen to what things they say on the ground there. While Green Party sources admitted that discussions Polanski had held with individual unions varied in some formality, some union advisors were adamant that supporting the Greens would be a no-go area, and that such discussions were much ado about nothing. So it sounds like some sources admitted that there's not going to be anything from this apparently here. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Although with a change in the leadership direction of Unison, some union members believe that there could be more than just public disagreement on the government's political agenda in the future. The Greens have enjoyed a huge boost in polling since their first national by-election victory in Gorton and Denton, and the party's membership has tripled in England and Wales since last September to about 200,000, which is an insane amount. And they're still pushing for more members. A Green Party source has said when Zack Polanski became leader, he said his goal was to replace Labour, and building strong links with trade unions is an essential part of that work. Working class people are increasingly looking at the Greens as the only party which will tackle the cost of living crisis and stand up for their rights. Zack's first priority is to push unions to stop funding the Labour Party, a party which in opposition make huge promises to workers and is now watering down and U-turning on those promises. Polanski wooed the UK teachers with a savage attack on the government's education record at the National Education Union annual conference in Brighton on Monday. He won a standing ovation from members for his speech, where he promised the abolishment of Ofsted and a serious cash injection into schools and a halt to further academicisation. Yeah, Ofsted is not working. I think even the Liberal Democrats talked about getting rid of Ofsted and replacing it with something as well. So it's the idea of getting rid of Ofsted has not been something that's been brought up before. It's not just the Greens. The Lib Dems talked about that in the past as well. I'm pretty sure they were the ones who talked about it in the past. And the Labour Party obviously just kind of been tinkering around with it there. obviously there was the one story that really stuck out the most was the teacher who I think if many of you will remember, there was a teacher who took her own life because her school was graded inadequate, and it was very so disheartening for the teacher. The fact that a teacher took her own life on a grade by these people was just simply diabolical for me. The fact that someone took their own life over it was really hurtful. As the first Green leader ever to address the NEU, Polanski said education has been pushed to the brink by the toxic twin pressures of ideological-driven reorganisation and an unforgivable squeeze in budgets. Promising additional funding for education sourced from taxing extreme wealth, Polanski said the Labour government had come to power promising change. They were merely tinkering around the edges. The Greens would offer more radical reforms. Ofsted is a toxic, failed institution which is harming teachers and children. He said to a huge applause, "We need to end the Ofsted era entirely and move towards a genuine collaboration model. And then we need to talk about academics, another failed model pushed on to teachers and children by previous governments. Ideological drive to marginalise our children's education." It was music to NEU's members' ears, as was his attack on the introduction of more testing in schools under Labour with a Year 8 reading assessment, which members earlier voted to oppose. It's time for a different approach, one that recognises that real learning, real skills, real understanding can't be measured only by standardised testing. One that recognises the vital role of arts and vocational subjects and treats them with equality within the curriculum. And one that generally equips children for the world that they grow up into, and giving them the media literacy that they need in a dizzying social media and fake news landscape. The understanding of ecosystem and biodiversity vital to tackle the climate and nature crisis, and the creative and critical thinking skills that set us apart from the machines and the age of AI. Polanski's speech was welcomed by NEU's General Secretary Daniel Kirby, who said more than 60% of his members have voted Labour at the last election, adding, "I think our members feel that Zack speaks more for schools and education do at the moment." And that's the key thing there at the moment, obviously. And it's we did look at some of the key points that Labour said they were introducing when they launched their local election campaign this morning there. But however much of that, obviously, how much of an impact that will make, obviously, in terms of the local election, I don't think it's going to make a big dent, because the thing is that people feel like that even though they're throwing policies out, even though they've launched their local election campaign and they've thrown a lot of these policies at people, it feels like well, people don't feel like you've done enough. And of course, we can always point to the Iran war, what's happening right now, with a lot of things, but I just feel like it's too little, too late from Labour. Like there are a lot of things that they're doing, but Keir Starmer needs to go. But I don't think he can go in the current situation with this war in the Middle East. I think if there wasn't a war in the Middle East, I would definitely have axed him. But I think, yeah, even if they get absolutely trounced, I don't think we can get rid of him in the current situation. Because the last thing you want with this crisis in the Middle East, and remember, there's over 100,000 British citizens in the Middle East right now, as well as our soldiers as well. You know, we don't want to do anything that upends what's happening over there right now. And we obviously don't want to escalate. We don't want to get involved. The only thing we want to do is to protect citizens that are in that continent and get them out of there. And of course, I'd like nothing more than our forces to kind of stay out of the fight completely. Of course, one of the biggest criticisms of Keir Starmer's decision was to allow the US to use its bases to do strikes in Iran, which does puts us technically involved in this war. No matter, even if he shouts that we're not in this war, well, you're giving the US our bases to be in this war technically. So it's kind of hard to play that. But as for this sounds very good from Zack Polanski's perspective here. Definitely definitely won a lot of teachers unions over here from his language here, which sounds very, very good in the D4. And But obviously, some of the bigger parties, they're not going to change their position right now. But we'll have to wait and see on that indeed. But very good signs there from Zack Polanski. And he needs to do that. And the Greens need to do that kind of stuff. They need to get into these conferences and need to make their speeches to all walks of life, and including unions, even if they're fundamentally disagreements, because thinking that the language and the language that they are using, the Greens, does hit home. The question that a lot of people have is that the Greens are saying a lot of things. They're saying a lot of the right things, and their policies sound good on paper. But when push comes to shove, when it comes to actually getting the keys to the door or getting to share that power, how much of that are you actually going to commit to? And how much of your tune is going to change when you walk in that door at number 10? That's the real question, because it's one thing to say all these things when you're in opposition. It is another to actually deliver them when you actually go in there. And Labour have moved the goalpost quite a bit, since from what they were saying before they went in to what they've been saying after they've been in as well. Good evening, Christina. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Kids cannot be test tube for dumb politicians. Automated the education system and stop making around with different policies motivated by political reasons, says Zhao. He also says, have teachers deciding curriculums with other entities in society, provide people with education and the training to every area from public to private companies and institutions. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of problems with our educational system right now. And I think we need to look at trying to simplify it to a certain extent. I think the word we need to simplify it, I think, is a word that kind of springs to my mind when I think about our educational system. I just think I think it's just too much at the moment, and I think about all the work that teachers have to deal with, not just what the children have to go with, but the teachers, the amount of work that they have to put themselves through is absolutely insane. Far, far too much work that teachers have to go through. But they just want to change children's lives. Yes, the paperwork does have to come with it, but I just feel like a lot of it is too much. Too much there. Hola, Martin. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. My worries for Storm. They are more far right-wing than deformed, says Witchy Goth. Yeah, well, right now, like, the worst thing that could happen, Witchy Goth, is if they put Rupert Lowell on Question Time, then that will be a massive problem. But at the moment, he's not being given the platform on mainstream media to promote his party at the moment, and that's a good thing. It's only if he gets put on on the TV screen and whatnot, then it can become a problem. Because he wants that platform. Because he knows that it can divert a lot of those really hardcore right-wing voters away from reform to restore. But he hasn't had that yet. But obviously that can change, of course. Sticking with youngsters, this is a story that my partner actually shared with me on at lunchtime. Because it's something that they've obviously been discussed, something that's been discussed for a while. And of course, obviously, as she works in daycare, so it obviously affects her here. So this is from the BBC. So screen time for under 5 should be limited to 1 hour a day. Parents have been told here. So let me read a bit more into this so I can give more context here. So children under the age of 5 should be limited to 1 hour screen time a day, while under 2 should not be watching screens alone, new government guidance says. It advises parents to steer clear of fast-paced videos and screens together where possible. The guidance also suggests screen swaps, taking screens away to read stories together, or playing simple games at meal times. The guidance is the first evidence-backed practical advice issued by the government, but ministers say it will be kept under review as more evidence emerges. Right, so here's my 2 cents on this, right? This is all well and good. It's all well and good putting this up from the government's position. And I would agree with a lot of this to a certain extent, because we don't want our children to be addicted to screen times, because a lot of crap on the screens are highly addictive and highly taken away. Yes, absolutely. Children this young year should not be spending so much time on social media. But here's the thing. This is only a guidance. This is only advice. This doesn't stop parents from giving them a tablet and walking away and allowing the children's mind to be squashed by the screen that they're looking at. This is the fundamental problem that I have, is that you're basically, as much as the guidance is good to a certain extent here, because I think limiting screen time is definitely needed here. You can't control. You're not pushing. You're not controlling enough of what the parents can do. Now, am I saying parents aren't taking enough ownership, responsibility of their children when it comes to screen time? Yes, I am saying that. I think your parents need to take more ownership of this, because there are a lot of parents out there, whether they want to admit or not, a lot of them is an example of when they are at home with their children and whatnot, they are doing just as much as looking at their phones than anybody else. And it's about their perceptions around their children is just as important about how much they dictate how much screen time that their children can look at. And it's really, really important that when you need to look at your phone, if you can do it without out of sight of the child, the more the better. Because you don't want to give the impression that you're on your phone 24/7, which a lot of us adults are these days. There's no hiding the fact that we spend a way too much time looking at our screens. We're all looking at screens in some way, shape, or form. I'm literally looking at 4 screens right now. Like, I've got 2 monitors and I've got 2 devices here, just as part of my work here. No, I'm not beating around the bush and say that I spend too much time looking at the screen. I admit I looking at too much time on the screen, but if I had a young child, would I want them to see me doing this? Absolutely not. I would not want them seeing me looking at screens all the time, because it makes them think, oh, well, I can look at a screen all the time. No, I don't want to give that impression. So at the end of the day, this is only guidance. At the end of the day, it doesn't force parents to say, okay, we're definitely going to do this. I want parents to follow more of this, but this is not going to stop parents sticking a tablet in front of their child because for whatever reason they can't look after their child, or there are some bad parents. There are a lot of bad parents. There are some parents who have too much on their plate, and they're just going to stick a tablet in front of them, and that will keep them busy. So it says this is quite an unknown in areas of lots of respect that we've taken in a precautionary approach. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson had said. Children's Commissioner for England, Dame Rachel Dasawa and Russell Vinya, Professor of I can't say that word, sorry, and Adolescent Health at University College London, have reviewed the latest evidence, finding that long periods of time spent on screens alone can affect children's sleep and physical activities, which are key to their development. It covers all types of screen use, including computers, tablets, mobile phones, and televisions. Yep, these are all count. The government has previously said about 98% of children are watching screens on a daily basis by the age of 2. 2 years old, yes, far too young. I'm thinking, well, how old was my nephew before he started watching at screens? So he's 11 now, but even when he was young, I don't think he had any screen time until maybe 4, maybe 4, 5. And they were really good parents. But yeah, 2-year-old? You want to give a child a 2-year-old tablet? I'm not sure about that. But the guidance says not all screen time is the same. Yeah, watching screens with an engaged adult is linked to a better cohesive development than solo use. Yeah, I think that's having, if you're with the child watching the same screen, that's okay. But if they're on their own all the time. Parents should also lead by example. Of course, the guidance recommends as children's brains are like sponges. They'll copy your screen use habits and encourage being present with children. Yeah. When it comes to government separately carrying out a consultation on whether the UK should follow the Australian footsteps in making it illegal for under 16 to have access to many social media sites, ahead of the guidance for under 5s being published on Friday, BBC News, followed by the Montreal family in Manchester for a week as they tried to cut back on screen time. So the BBC are looking at, so here, so you got a father here with their 2 children using a tablet here on a plane. Now, this is something that makes sense, I suppose, to pass the time, because maybe, the argument you might be saying, well, maybe they should read a book. Well, would they read the book you're with them, I suppose? Mum Alexis says screen time is a topic of conversation every day because we do it every day. She's keen to cut down the family screen time with her children, Romy 4 and Mario 1. Growing up surrounded by technology. The yoga instructor says she normally resorts to screens if she needs to do something quickly, like pack their school bags or cook. Yeah, this is something that this helps them. So when they need to get stuff done and they don't want to be dealing with their children, this is something that parents do as well. This makes sense. Or what it might also happen when mommy wakes up early, and sometimes it's simply to avoid conflict and meltdowns. It does make me feel guilty for doing it, but when you're not always going to be getting out of bed and bouncing with them at 6 o'clock and setting up arts and crafts. Like I said, following the new rules hasn't been easy. At the start of the week, I was like, yeah, come on, we're going to do this. And by the end of the week, I thought we could have no screens and everything would just swap perfectly. But it didn't really happen like that. We tried our best. No, you're not going to be able to do it straight away. So just a reminder of the guidance of screen times here. Avoid screen times for shared activity. Avoid screen times other than for shared activity that encourages bonding, interaction, and conversation. Try to keep screen time to no more than 1 hour a day. Avoid at meal times in the hour before bed. Yeah, meal times, obviously, you put the phones down. Yeah, you shouldn't have phones at the table anyway. They should be taken away from the table. That's logical there. Choose slow-paced, age-appropriate content. Yeah, that's obvious. Fast-paced social media style videos and AI toys should be avoided for young children. Yeah, keep that stuff away from them. I think we all understand that. Watch or use screens together is advised to talk about when you are watching, asking questions and games about the content. This is better for children's development than the screen solo use there. She says she found ways of some swapping very time-consuming, especially in the morning and right after school when she needs to get things done. I need that time. I'm not going to swap it to sit down and read a book because it's not realistic, she says. Her husband, Marshall, said, it's hard to tell them not to when you're doing it yourself. Yeah, this is the key thing here. This is why when you need to use it, you should try and avoid doing it in front of them there. That's my advice. My advice is that when parents need to look at the screens, they should try not to do it in front of their children as minimal as possible. It's kind of hard to do that when they're young because you need to be in the room with them. So I don't have a solution to that option. As someone who's on his screen a lot for work, he says he has the rush of needing to look at my phone for its work during the day, and it keeps going after work. But the families are going to keep trying. This has definitely made me more aware and almost made me start doing things that I've always said. Now we need to do that, Alexis said. So here is the early years crucial for brain development. Brains are almost adult sized by the age of 5. A percentage of adult brains weigh at different ages here. So at birth, 25, 1, 73, 85, 5, 92, and 7 is 95%. Studies cited by the early years screen time advisory group suggest high screen time can be associated with delayed language development, emotional and behavior difficulties, slow development of thinking and understanding, and sleep difficulties. So yeah, sleep difficulties definitely a key one there. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. According to AI, they are on 120,000 members Restore. That's what they're claiming, but the thing is they don't publish their actual records. And my perception of Restore as the Restore Britain party is a lot of them are probably not even from the UK. So I'll take their membership toll with a pinch of salt. George says, I'm not allowed screen time, but you are worth it. I appreciate you being on, George. So good to see you there. Love the hat. Reminds me of the skin in the 80s. Oh, thank you. I don't normally wear it very often because wearing hats sometimes give me migraines. That's just why I don't wear them, but I don't wear it as often as I used to there. So parents don't want the hassle of dealing with their one offspring. My dad was working in the bakery and my mum was at hospital for most of my childhood, and he found time to feed me, clothe me, and speak with me. I raised 2 nephews and limited their screen time and kept an eye on what they were doing online. Laziness is a great excuse. Good evening, Cavalan. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, but the thing is it's easy. It's easy to say when our parents did it, they could manage things, you know. But my parents didn't have this issue, you know, and our grandparents didn't have this issue. But we have this technology all around us. It's seen everywhere. Children see it everywhere. It's about how we manage it. It's a very difficult situation for children. I really do feel for them. And for parents. I do feel for parents because they have to try and strike a balance, and it's hard. It's not easy at all. It really is difficult for them. At the Institute for Science of Early Years at the University of East London, scientists have been studying the different content watched by under 5s. Obviously, 3-year-old Alex's brain activity using a sensory cap. Professor Sam Waltz said he's particularly interested in moments where his brain can't keep up anymore, where the content is happening at a speed which is too fast for his brain to track. If stuff is coming at us too fast, something called the fight-to-fight stress system kicks in, where your heart starts beating faster and you start to get a lot of energy released into your muscles, he said. Of course, this isn't actually useful anymore, because this is happening when children are sat down on a chair watching screen content. Yeah, because the child is not moving. Things are happening in front of the child that they're trying to process, but they're not actually moving themselves. Whereas, you know, if you're doing an exercise or something, you're actually utilizing your body. Speaking of BBC Way, Professor Walsh said it was known screens aren't as effective as face-to-face learning. But what still needs to be figured out is exactly why children are so drawn to screens in the first place. He added, because it's fascinating. It's not the real world. It's another world to them. The researchers say the nature of the content aimed at children has changed significantly over the past 20 to 30 years. Previously, children's programs were generally much more slow-paced, while today's content is much faster, features a lot of movement and talking. Wells says much is not yet known about the changes, how the change is affecting children, but there is a good evidence of a link between emotional dysregulation and an inability to manage emotional responses, and the amount of time spent watching fast-paced, unpredictable content. This is something that we need to be looking at carefully, he says. Life wasn't as busy when we were small, really, especially for me. Yeah, life was very different when we were younger as well. Like, the thing is, I don't think it's fair to compare, like, what my parents went through with what, like, parents these days have to go through, because there are a lot of fundamental differences, and there will always be fundamental differences for a lot of parents. The guidance says time limits should apply in the same way for screen-based assistant technologies to use for support children with special education needs and disabilities. I know there are a lot of pressures on families, and the intention behind the guidance, it's not to be judgmental, but to be supportive and provide that clear, practical help that parents have been telling us they really want to see. Phillipson said, "Yeah, I don't want to throw parents under the bus when they throw their tablets on them, but at the same time, I'm worried that too many parents are just going to ignore the guidance and just give them the tablet, because it can be, it's an easy solution when they can't control their child." The guidance should also recommend that AI toys or tools should be avoided. Yeah, I don't want children going anywhere near artificial intelligence. That's very, very dangerous, because you are gonna start seeing that AI for children. You're gonna start seeing that kind of stuff. I would not put them near that right now. You would not. I feel like we're gonna get that one way or another. They're going to say, like, they're going to have this AI teddy bear or something that will talk to them, and it's just, like, pretty much be raising the child for you, and it's just, I feel like that's coming if it's not already here. Online safety campaigner Ian Russell said the new guidance was a hopeful sign, adding, "This is advice that's based on evidence." I think it's a key point here. I just hope that a lot of people take it on board, but again, it's only advice. It doesn't force parents. Russell's 14-year-old daughter Molly took her own life after consuming harmful content online. He said the way teenagers interact with technology was probably more of a concern to society, but there is evidence that says the earlier you start to do something about this, the better. Vicky Schultbolt, founder of Parent Zone, which supports families to stay safe online, says it's very hard for young children to completely avoid tech. It's difficult. Social media, definitely, we should try to avoid them with, but yeah, tech, you can't avoid it completely. She says she hopes parents will not become unnecessarily worried by it. Small child on the age of 5 who's got an AI smart speaker in the house will be interacting with it, she said. Yeah. So the idea that we completely keep them away from the possibilities is flawed, but it's a good general guidance. My parents have an Echo, and I don't like it. I don't like having a speaker or something like that where you could just talk to it in the morning, because I feel like it's something that's watching you all the time, you know. We don't actually have one here in this house, which is good. Obviously that can change at some point. Laura Trott said she welcomed the guidance, but added that the government must go further, for example, legally banning smartphones in schools and taking away social media access for under 16s. Well, it's been said many times that teachers already take away smartphones from children in most schools, although it should be a law, in my opinion. Leader said, Davey said, I had a lot of sympathy with the government And its new guidance was missing the big picture and has been way too slow to act on social media, said Ed Davey. It's a difficult situation. It's difficult for the government to find the right balance on this. Yeah, it was a long piece, but I think it was worth talking about, that's for sure, when it comes to screen time in particular here. It's not an easy subject to finding that balance, and I really do sympathise with people about this. And maybe at some point I'll have a conversation with some family about how they feel they've managed it. And generally, because have some food for thought on it there. Tech is the future. 50-50 is a good start, says George. Yeah, tech is the future. Unfortunately, that is just something that's going to happen. You know, they are going to be turning more and more to technology. Amazon Echo Studio, it's off most of the time, says Cavaland. Yeah, but like your phone, it's always listening to you. Nothing wrong with it. If it's just something that makes it better for you, that's fine there. Martial arts helped me a lot. I started at around 7 or 8 years old. Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, I would say the main thing is, as long as your child is not spending all their time looking at their screen non-stop, if they're doing that all the time, that's a big problem. Like, if they're doing some of that, and they're being capped at doing that, and they're doing other things, I don't know, like going to play football, being at a football club, or, you know, swimming, karate, or whatever, like doing other activities, reading books, doing puzzles, board games, or whatever, not just looking at a screen. If they're doing other activities, including screen time, that's okay. That's right, because you're getting a balance there. The problem is if that balance is nothing but screen time. Like if you've got loads and loads of toys for your child, and your child is not spending any time on those toys, or you've got books for them that they've never read because they're spending all their time looking at their screen, that's a big problem. That's where the address needs to be. Right now it needs to be some screen time and then other activities, because you can't take the screen, you can't take the devices, you can't take the screen completely away from them. But what you don't want to do is give them too much of it. It's about finding that balance, I think, is the key thing. It's a difficult balance for parents. It really, really is. There. For sure. But I think this is definitely a conversation that we'll be continuously having over and over again. I don't have a phone and no social, only YouTube, says George. So do you watch on the computer then? Is that my understanding? So if you don't have a phone, I'm surprised you don't have a mobile phone. Everyone has a mobile phone. So my assumption is you have a computer at home. Is that correct, Georgie? Scout, Chinese martial arts and music. Also spend a lot of time in the woods nearby town. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of that. As long as you're doing all that, lots of other things is always a good thing as well. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's switch gears. Wow, we're already at 20 past. Jesus. Okay, let's go to this next one here, guys. So yeah, reform. Stories like this I normally save for Reform Watch, but that's not till the end of April. But we might as well talk about it nonetheless here. So Zia Yusuf, a guy that nobody elected, who's not been elected by anyone in any way, shape, or form, but he obviously has he has a high position in Reform Russia. He brands the Reform candidate's Nazi salute abhorrent. Yes, it was abhorrent for a Reform candidate to do it, but he stand by the party's vetting process. So Reform Russia's Home Affairs spokesperson insisted the party has taken action after a series of abhorrent incidences. Yes, guys, Reform Russia are taking direct action with regards to this terrible, abhorrent salute that this Reform candidate did. Absolutely right on the ball, as they always are, guys. But don't worry, their vetting process is 100% bulletproof this time, guys. They absolutely mean it this time when they said they got their vetting process going. It's foolproof. It's nothing going to go wrong with it whatsoever here. So Zia Yusuf has defended Reform Russia's vetting process after a picture of a party's candidate appeared to do a Nazi salute surfaced online. Oh dear. The Reform Russia Home Affairs spokesperson insisted the party has taken action after a series of abhorrent incidences, which also included another candidate branding the former Scottish Minister Zia Yusuf an Islamic moron. Like, yeah, this just shouldn't be using that kind of language. Asked about the party's vetting process, which party leader Nigel Farage vowed to improve last year, Mr. Yusuf said, obviously, all of that's abhorrent, and the party has taken action on that. He says it's abhorrent, nothing more than that. Reform has vetted over 8,000 candidates over the past couple of years. Even if our success rate is 99.9%, a handful will slip through. Yep, that's right, guys. That's right, guys. So some is going to slip through the radar here, and this is where he's going to say we need the media to keep an eye on them. A reform Russian candidate for the upcoming seed election stood down this week after photos of him appeared to strike a Nazi salute appeared online. Photos of Corey Edwards, reportedly taken at least 6 years ago, emerged hours after he announced his candidacy, appearing to show him performing a Nazi salute. It sparked criticism from political opposition who branded the picture as utterly disgraceful and criticised the standards of reform Russia's electoral candidates by reform. Well, you know, what is their vetting process? Do you hate immigrants? Yes. Welcome aboard. That's pretty much it. Mr. Edwards issued an apology for the image, telling The Independent, a photo from many years ago that has been shared that I recognise looks bad and could be misinterpreted. That's right, guys. It was misinterpreted. He didn't actually do it. It was misinterpreted. So what were you doing then instead? I suppose Elon Musk's one. Elon Musk's one was misinterpreted as well, guys. There is a clear distinction between ordinary use for the appalling gesture compared with me intimidating a Welsh footballer's use of it, or indeed Basil's flourish walks. Yeah, because that's definitely not a Nazi salute, guys. I don't know about you, but that looks quite a lot like it there. It seems to think it's funny as well. The reformed Russian Scottish leader Malcolm Offred was also forced to stand by his Hollywood candidate after past social media posts emerged. Wow, he's doing really well in Scotland, isn't he? Linda Holt, the candidate for Fife North East, described the former First Minister Zia Yusuf as a grandstanding Islamic moron and said he was not British, although he was born in Scotland. Well, you're right. He's Scottish. That's the truth. Asked about the incident, Mr. Yusuf told the BBC, I want to make a very important point, actually, on vetting and how these things are covered, because yes, of course, it's reasonable to hold reform to account. Well, what consistently happens is the BBC pounces on every single reform mishap and gives it vastly disproportionate coverage in your news cycles, and completely ignores the far more voluminous misdemeanors and frankly egregious things that people from other parties say. Are we hearing? But hold on a second here. Hold on a second. I need to take the hat off for this, right? You surely can't tell me, like I've seen online of Labour councillors or Conservative councillors, or you know, in the past pop up where stories about things that they have said and done that have popped up, and then they end up losing their position. So I'm not exactly sure if I fully agree with him here. Like I've seen criticism of Conservative and Labour. I don't hear a lot about Lib Dem, if I'm honest. I don't remember the last time I heard a story about a Lib Dem councillor or Lib Dem politician being forced to step away for something that they've done. But should it be reported when something like that happens from those parties? Yeah, I think it should be reported. But maybe it's only in regional newspapers, or regional websites, rather than the mainstream there. Mr. Edwards' suspension came just days after Reform Russia was forced to suspend its Hampshire mayoral candidate after he appeared to liken a Jewish neighbourhood to watch group to Islamics on horseback following an arson attack on Jewish community ambulances. Chris Parry was suspended pending investigation following the remarks about Schrossen, a volunteer patrol service, in a series of social media posts on Monday as well. So I do recommend checking out at some point LBC's James O'Brien and Riley is the other guy. They do every now and then they'll have a show on LBC where the two of them take the piss out of reform and showcase lots and lots of stories around reform. I don't know if they'll be doing that this week, but they do tend to cover that. And of course, we'll cover lots of reform stories, myself and Graham Price on April the 30th of Reform Talks series. So there'll be plenty to discuss there as well. What are you guys saying there? Everyone's saying hello to each other. 6 years ago, you wonder why I don't. 6 years ago, and you wonder why I don't have a social, says Georgie. Everyone is different, I suppose. Everyone is different, I suppose. I almost never use my phone to go online. I prefer my desktop. I prefer desktop as well. I like the desktop as well there. Henry Riley, Reform Watch. Thank you, Cavaland. Yes. They call it, yeah, they've got it's a great series that they're doing on LBC. It's one that's definitely needed for sure. These people like to create fictional enemies to foil peasants. Yep, they do. They do indeed for sure. Right, guys, let's take a little break because we've gone way too overboard here. Let's get to our funny story here. And there's actually a lot to this story, but I'm going to play this first, and then I'm going to share the context behind all this as well. So this here is from Garen, and he has heard about the terrible story. This is actually a true story as well, and I'm going to show you it after we hear from Garen with regards to this here, guys. So Garen, please take it away for those who aren't aware.
12 tons of KitKats have been stolen. That's over 400,000 KitKats. Fuck you, Nestle. I don't even feel sorry for you. They're saying this might cause an Easter KitKat shortage, so you can tell your grandkids you lived through the oil and KitKat shortage of 2026. The thieves are still at large and presumed to be becoming larger. I wouldn't worry about them stealing anything else though. They are fueled up to have a break, have a KitKat for quite some time. That was such a shit joke. We all know that the real Easter chocolate thieves are big fucking chocolate. You've been stealing chocolate from our Easter eggs for fucking years, ye cunts. This is your comeuppance. The picture of the egg on the box is twice the size of the fucking egg. 496 grams. There's nothing fucking XL about that. The Easter eggs aren't even fucking egg-shaped anymore. What's that? Some sort of a rhombus, parallelogram looking cunt. That's what you get now. Follow me. I'm delicious.
Yep, that is absolutely true. Easter eggs shrink very much. They do this. They have a big egg. They have a big box, sorry. They have a big box and a small egg. The boxes stay the same, but the size of the egg gets smaller. And they try to trick you with that, and it's absolute bollocks. So what's this story about KitKat, guys? Well, they put out an official tweet, and you can tell how legit this is. They have 91.5 million views, this official statement from KitKat's official Twitter account. I'm not joking. This is absolutely true. So it said yesterday here at 6:53 p.m. for reference, official statement, we can confirm that 12 tons of KitKat products were stolen while in transit between our factory in central Italy and their destination in Poland. We're working closely with the local authorities and supply chain partners to investigate. The good news is that there are no concerns for consumer safety, and the supply is not affected there. So this prompted obviously lots of suspicions. And I think we have a good suspect of who could be responsible, guys. I want to take you down to this clip here where we think the prime suspect could be here. So this guy is the prime suspect. We don't know his whereabouts, but we can see that he clearly has been nibbling on KitKats for some time. So if you guys know who this squirrel is and where his whereabouts, please report it to the KitKat headquarters as soon as possible here. But this is the prime suspect that we do have, that they have at the moment. So they are still looking out for other suspects, but this is the prime suspect indeed for what happened here, guys. I should also point out this other statement as well that was shared as well. This very important statement that Domino's had to put out as well, guys. So Domino's has said, we would like to share our thoughts and condolences with KitKat following their recent sad news. On a completely unrelated note, we're pleased to announce that we'll now be selling a new KitKat pizza. And then they at the bottom there they said, for legal reasons this is a joke, and they said can't believe the robbery wasn't foiled. So I just had to throw that one in there as well, guys. So We need to have a good laugh. We need to have a good laugh on that one there. See, indeed. So, yeah, if you've seen that squirrel anywhere, guys, please make sure you contact the police as soon. But in all seriousness, if you see that squirrel anywhere, make sure you do contact the police as soon as possible so they can find that squirrel and apprehend him as soon as possible. Because obviously 12 tons of Kit Kat has been stolen, guys. I make one Easter egg, says Jao. Delicious, he says. I bet your Easter egg is fits the box you put it in if you put it in a box. Back to work, says Caroline. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your work, Caroline. Thank you for popping in. Much appreciated. And eggs are associated to a specific part of human anatomy here, so eating eggs can be confused with somebody else. We usually have Easter chocolate bunnies. That sounds odd too, says Jao. Stealing from the Swiss is a bad idea. Has the USA is about to discover. Even squirrels deserve a moment, Sarah. Am I missing some chats? Hold on a second. Let me set my chat to all because just in case there's some people I'm missing here. Hello, Vicky. Good to see you there. Oh, there you are, Sarah. I didn't see your chat. I didn't see that there. He was seen squirreling Kit Kats after having a break and having a Kit Kat, says Sarah. Ah, good to see you there, Sarah. I hope you're doing well. Ah, thanks for the information. I'll make sure to pass that on to the Metropolitan Police as soon as possible there. It was an excellent story. Excellent story. Ah, indeed. Thank you so much for that. Very much appreciated there. Right. So we've got our suspects. So again, if you see any information, do let them know. I'll make sure Daily Blase also tells people on Friday Frolics as well about this story because it's really, really important that more people know about it. Speaking of worst stories, it's a worst time for Labour, guys. So it's exclusive from the iPaper here. Labour suffers its worst poll ratings since the election as the Greens surge. Keir Starmer's party has slumped to a 19% in BGM Research latest poll for the iPaper. Yeah, it's not very good indeed. Not very good indeed, guys. So, yeah, they've taken a bit of a tumble. And to be honest, this is kind of expecting. Now, there have been some polls where Labour have been pushed third in some polls. I think, it's really, really important that I have to caveat this whenever we talk about polls, that we always must take a pinch of salt whenever we listen to polls, because polls are not always guaranteed. They're not always factual. And they give an indication, but it doesn't always mean that they are accurate there as well. I think, they were expecting Labour to win, Reform to win a lot more seats at the general election, according to a lot of polling indications, and that's not what happened at all. They only ended up winning a couple, didn't they? The joke was that the eggs are also referred to as the mail as well. Oh, I'm sorry, I ruined the egg joke, Chow. My apologies. Ruined it. I ruined the joke. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not on top of the eggs, am I? So Labour's poll rating has fallen to their lowest levels since the general election, as Reform remains in the lead and the Green Party's surge, according to a new survey. Keir Starmer's party slumped to 19% in BMG Research's latest poll for the iPaper. Down 1 point, with the Greens attracting record levels of backing on 16%. So Reform extended its lead and is on 28% apparently at 1 point, but Nigel Farage's party was nevertheless pegged back compared to their peak of 35% in August. The Conservatives remain on 18% there. So they've had a slight increase according to the BMG Research poll apparently. Probably because they shouted about immigration again, most likely. It's Labour's worst poll rating since winning the election in July 2024, when the party enjoyed a 30% share of the vote. They come to meet a surge from the Greens in a fresh sign that Zack Polanski's party is eating into the party of government support. The result shows each party remains highly fragmented. So yeah, this is from the BMG for the iPaper here, and we can see. I mentioned it before, that dip from Reform, and you can see they have dipped from that high number there. And there was, you can see from July to November, you can see the Conservatives had that rise, and then they've just fallen down since then. And pretty much like they had a slight increase in April according to their polling, Labour, but they've been dipping. And you can see the Liberal Democrats, of course, being Liberal Democrats, not moving one bit, which is not a surprise whatsoever. And then you can see the high surge in the Greens there. I think, I wouldn't take any notice of the SNP with this because it's just a voting intention for the UK as a whole. You have to, I don't think it's fair to make. I don't think it's a fair distinction there, because it's like where these are they're all separate elections, separate there. So I don't think it's a fair one there at all. I have little faith in polls, yeah. My humour is odd. I have odd humour as well there. Reganelite, can you check your connection? Am I stuttering, guys? If I'm stuttering, let me stop. Let me stop recording because I was recording in the background. Maybe that will. Maybe that's the reason why it was stuttering. Breaking up sound. Let me have a look. 1 second, guys. Have a look at the. It's not receiving enough views. Oh dear. Stream health. Stream status is poor. What am I supposed to do here? Can you check your connection? It's poor. Cracklings. Am I still here? Can you still hear me all right? I'm just giving it a second because I have stopped recording. So we're still live, but I've just stopped the recording. I just want to see what you guys are saying. I'm not quite sure. No sound? No sound now. You can't even hear me. Oh dear. I don't know what more I can do, guys. Damn, so I guess recording is not... can't record the streams anyway. Viewers who experience buffering. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. I'm not sure what to do. Sound is back. You have sound now. You have sound now. Can you hear me all right? Sound is back, yeah, but can you hear me all right? Clearer now. So it took a while. So it's one of the things that I did this morning, before we carry on, guys. So one of the things I wanted to try and do was record the live stream as well, stream it. But I don't actually need to do that. If that was the reason, then yeah, it says it's still poor. I don't know if it might be. Yeah, I can see the stuttering. Right, I can see the stuttering on my screen. Yeah, you say you can now. If I go to the screen, is it? You have a delay, I think. Yeah, of course I have a delay. But it's not telling me the stream is healthy. It's not saying that right now. Right, I'll try and carry on. So, cross fingers there. Recent suggestions that Starmer's had started to shore up his position with his handling of the Iran war. I can hear you fine. Okay. The handling of the Iran war may also have been premature, with the embattled Prime Minister's slight rebound in net satisfaction ratings dropped back to a dire -46, a level lasting before the conflict. This came after a 6-point boost for the PM earlier this March and a rise in proportion of voters who think Labour should keep him as leader amid threats from his own MPs to remove him. The Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, was the highest scoring party leader on -7, while Farage dropped slightly to -16, amid the growing dissatisfaction there. This is the current polling, the BMGM polling there. Where Reform Russia, meanwhile, enjoyed the lead over Labour on 10 of its biggest polling issues and crucially opened up a 2-point lead on the cost of living, seen as the most important challenge facing the country by voters. Why do people see Reform Russia as the key, as the success to the cost of living? because their position, and I'm just about to answer my own question. It's because they believe that getting rid of all the immigrants will fix all their cost of living issues. They suggest that Farage is beginning to capture a strong proportion of the public's support on the matters that concerns them the most. As the Iran war threatens household finances and leading to growing calls for Labour to allow more oil and gas drilling in the North Sea, Reform also extended its overall lead over Starmer's party on energy to a point, and over the Tories on security and defence by a point. The findings make grim reading for Starmer as MPs break from Parliament for Easter reset, with the May local elections looming here. So it says leader satisfaction there. Many are dissatisfied with Starmer. Many dissatisfied with Bagonot and Farage. None of them are very satisfied. Why? Here's a good question. Why is Polanski not on this? Why is Ed Davey not on this? Why are we only doing Labour, the Conservatives and Reform here? Why have you not put up those two? Like, so you've put all the parties here. You've put all the parties here, but you're not showing Kemi, and you're not showing Ed Davey, and you're not showing Polanski here. Why are you not showing them? We've seen YouGov show them. I've seen other polls show them. Why are you not showing them here? The polls on May the 7th being viewed as political make and break moment for the Prime Minister, with many MPs saying he could face a Labour leadership challenge if the party performs particularly badly, although some think the Iran war has made it less likely he will be ousted. Yeah, this is exactly the point. I think, like I said earlier, if it wasn't for the someone else on Wi-Fi, I'm not Wi-Fi'd. This is Ethernet connected. My internet is not Wi-Fi'd. There's no way I'd be doing this. I would not be a content creator. I would not be a YouTuber if I was relying on Wi-Fi. Definitely not. Not for my work. I don't. So I have the way it works is I have a plug that connects into the 3-pin plug, and then there's a. So the Ethernet cable, I can't say the bloody word properly. The Ethernet cable, the internet one. So it plugs into this socket thing. So it's saying those tabs are slowing me down apparently. Okay, fine. I'll close the tabs. Close the tabs. I'll close the tabs. So it's saying that certain tabs are slowing me down. And then at the downstairs where the router is, there's another Ethernet port where it plugs from the plug socket into the cable. So I literally have direct connection to the internet. Back when I used to live, I know I'm going off topic, but back when I used to live at home, we used to run an Ethernet cable out the window to get direct internet. Yeah, I'm totally against Wi-Fi internet for my work, personally. Sorry, going off topic. Last week, the former Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner highlighted the dangers Starmer facing Starmer, as she warned. The very survival of the Labour Party is at stake amid dire opinion poll ratings, insisting it cannot just go through the motions in the face of decline, and adding we're running out of time. Rayner's speech reignited speculation that she was burnishing her left-wing credentials in preparation for a challenge to Starmer's leadership, which could materialise after May's election across Scotland, rousing a swathe of English councils in which Labour is expected to perform poorly. They're going to get absolutely destroyed. This is inevitable. And but the cold hard fact of this, right? The cold hard fact is for Labour is they've gone too right. They've gone too much to the right with a lot of their policies, and they've done some really dissatisfying. Tried to bring forward some really dissatisfying policies. And it's been absolutely infuriating. Like the one policy for me, like there's so many of them that Labour tried to introduce that had nothing to do with their manifesto, that came out of nowhere. Like the one that sticks out to me more than anything, I think the one that sticks out to me more than anything is the let me just clear a bit more space on the drive, so hopefully that will slow it down. Is the changes to the welfare system. Disability people in particular, that's the one that really stuck out to me as the most insane out of it all. Yeah, so I've got confirmation the stream is healthy now, guys. I've just got confirmation stream status is healthy, so we're all right now. We are all right now. So it's literally just popped up saying stream status is healthy. So yeah, it's a bit annoying. You sound good. Everyone keeps telling me. All I'm seeing is comments is saying your sounds back, sounds back, sounds back. Yeah, because what I did is I stopped recording, and it took a while for the recording to stop. But obviously, I can't do that. And to be fair, I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be recording and streaming at the same time. I should just download the stream if I want to chop it up. I'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't want to waste any more time because we've got other stories to cover. There as well. Right, let's keep going. Let's keep going here, guys. Got another story to go on here. I've got a short story that's come down now. This may update by the time, so we might hear some more about this tomorrow here, but this is an exclusive story coming from the Financial Times. There's not a lot on this here, but I just wanted to share this with you guys here. So the UK government is on the verge of full nationalisation of British Steel, according to them. Talks with the Chinese owner Jingnai continues while losses mount. So they insist. So the Financial Times are saying that the government are being backed into a corner with this. And given the situation with regards to the tariffs and the situation with the war in Iran, as well as relying on a private company to take care of our British Steel, which we all know they don't care. They're not going to run they don't want to run a business that's not making them any money. And we know this company wanted to shut down certain furnaces here. Like this needs am I in favour of nationalising our British Steel? Yeah, I think I don't like it's a major part of our. It's a major. It's majorly. I think it's very, very important. Would I lend it out to private company? I don't know if I would actually. I don't know if I would. Like the thing is, like for me, like I want nationalisation to be for basic stuff. But is British Steel are we going too far with nationalisation here when it comes to British Steel? No, not if we've got companies that are trying to run it into the ground and we rely and we don't have enough of our own industry. Then I guess the answer is yes, we should have it nationalised here. You can't please reform voting idiots. They will still vote for them. You need to catch the moderates and the people displeased with the current situation. My fear is that a lot of reform voters will not see the failures of reform until reform are in power. That's the same problem that you have with Republicans. And I don't want us to have that situation. Which is really, and it's really important that people engage with reform voters. I would say with regards to, there's a lot of, I don't agree that all reform voters are idiots. I know you didn't say that, Joe. I'm just making this context here. There's a lot of reform voters that if you talk to them, if you can have a reasonable conversation with them, they're more likely to vote green than vote reform. I think if you could have a reasonable conversation with them. I mean, a lot of them are very much for climate change and green energy and whatnot, and they're still casting their vote for reform based on the immigration. So the British government is on the verge of fully nationalising British Steel, almost a year on from using emergency legislation to take control of the business. 3 people close to the situation said. So last year, a special measures bill was granted the government emergency powers to take control of the business and safeguard jobs amid fears that Chinese owner Jinrai was running down the site and halting coke imports. Yeah, they were deliberately and intentionally trying to sabotage look, let's just call it exactly what it is. The company was deliberately and intentionally to sabotage this to put it out of business. They were attempting to do this. But British Steel is heavily loss-making. The government spent $377 million between April and the end of January to keep it afloat. The National Audit Office warned that this could hit $615 million by June and $1.5 billion by 2028 if current spending continues. Jinrai still has economic control of British Steel, meaning the government is legally unable to sell all or part of the business or make decisions about its strategy. One person familiar with the situation said that nationalisation was a necessary step for British Steel's future. So if the government can't make business decisions here, then they need to take control of it because they want this to fail. Okay, this company wants them to fail. Take it completely off their hands. Take it completely out of their hands. Okay, if we're already spending $377 million, I mean we're already in March, so the number's going to be what? 500 million plus that. Just take it out of their hands and steer it in the right direction. And if you really want to sell it, then sell it. I personally don't think they should, but I know this government's going to end up selling it. But take it in the direction it needs to be taken. The government is now considering how to use legislation to take legal control of the business. The person familiar with the situation said the government's recent move to designate steel as a strategic national asset could pave the way for the government to use national security laws to force through nationalisation. Yeah, but this is a matter of matter of national security to protect British steel. Jindai rejected a £100 million offer for British Steel from the government last month and had originally demanded more than £1 billion. Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking bastards. £1 billion in compensation, you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. £1 billion, you greedy fucking bastards. Sorry, I have to say that, guys. You greedy fucking bastards. £1 billion in compensation. You fuckers. Absolute fucking vile scum. A senior UK government official said negotiations with Jindai were still active and taking place in good faith. There is clearly a defined timeline. They cannot go on forever. British Steel declined to comment. I don't want the government giving them £1 billion in compensation. I really don't. But here's the question: would you pay that one? But here's a question, chat: would you pay that $1 billion if it meant getting it out of their hands? The UK government spokesperson said, "We've been clear that the safeguarding in UK steel mills is our priority. We continue to engage with the owner and find a solution that protects workers' production and national interests. We will not comment further while discussions are ongoing." They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about this. They want to try and milk as much money out of the government they can. Gareth Staines, a general director at industry group Steel UK, said the industry would be strongly welcome the full nationalisation of British Steel. Of course it would. This would provide vital certainty for the workforce, the company's customers and the wider supply chain at a critical moment. British Steel Scunthorpe site is home to Britain's last two operating blast furnaces and produces 95% of the steel used on UK rail tracks. This is why we can't lose it. This is just one of many reasons. The government favours a shift to greener electricity arc furnaces, but this transition would cost thousands of jobs. Britain's other major steelmaker, Tata Steel, has announced plans to shift to electric arc furnaces at its Port Talbot site in Wales, by the cost of £1.25 billion and thousands of jobs. The government has already provided a £500 million grant to Tata Steel to fund the transaction as part of a wider £2.5 billion package of support for the UK steel sector. Against a volatile backdrop of US tariffs and the UK's high energy costs, the government this month announced its much delayed steel strategy, full focus on renewable trade quotas designed to protect steelmakers from a glut of Chinese imports. Michael Flax, the Manchester-born turnover investor, has expressed an interest in acquiring British Steel and combining it with other European steel operations. Bankers has also been sounding out interest from other strategic partners. The people close to the situation said that it was a moot point until the government had a legal ability to actually sell the business. The Chinese have spent over $1.5 billion on British Steel, says Dave McGuinness. So have they not made? So if they've lost money, which is why they're asking for a $1 billion. That's still technically a loss for them, isn't it? Thatcher's legacy selling our industry and services and private companies screwed us over, says Sarah Davis. Yeah. I would discount from the $1 billion all the money of the states to put in it Reganelite, like we have here some of the situations. That reform will never get into number 10. Educate those idiots. They won't do anything for them, please, says Sheffield there. Good to see you there, Sheffield. Hope you're doing well. So yes or no? Would you give them £1 billion in order to take it into full nationalisation? If the demand was $1 billion, would you give it to them? It's a simple question. Yeah, I would give it to them. I would give it the $1 billion to get it out of their hands and get it in the government's hands. Yes, I would. I don't like throwing away £1 billion, guys, but we need it. We need that steel. We really need it. We really need that British steel. It's so important. Is it worth wasting £1 billion just to get that company out of our hairs? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, yes, steel is vital for rail construction and defence. Yeah, we need it. Yeah, this company, I just feel like they you know, I don't know how true it is that they're trying to sabotage our steel industry. I mean, there was a lot of that talk, yeah, when it happened last year. But yeah, I think it's worth just to pay them off, just to get rid of them. Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth just paying them off. I don't think the government should just fuck about with them I think the government should just stop fucking about with them and just give them what they want and get rid of them. You know, in this situation, I think we just need to we need to protect us. This is not just, because it's not just about protecting the jobs of the workers of the steel making industry. As Dave McGuinness has pointed out, it's really about protecting the industry as well. One of the few industries we still have here in the here that we need to look after. You know, so important for our future infrastructure. No, I really can't stress that enough. It's really important for infrastructure in the future. There, blah blah. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. No, it's nothing you're any mods of, says Witchygoff. Sarah says no. Sarah would not pay the 1 billion. Yeah, I know it's a lot of taxpayer money. I understand why people wouldn't want to pay 1 billion to them as well. So I understand that position as well. So I understand why some people say an issue here is having to import most of our steel, says Jal. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, imagine producing your own steel and not having to import it. You know, that's so much better. You know, so yeah, yeah, you know, not having to import it there. So. I'm good, thanks to yourself. Really, not too bad, thank you. We had a bit of internet buffering earlier on during the stream, but we're okay now. There, we're okay now. I think the billion would pay itself back in the look. I think the £1 billion we could pay it. It would pay itself back in the long term. It could pay itself back in the long term. The Scottish government stepped in to save what is left of Scottish steel. Of course they did. Because why would you want? Of course they did. Because they're not stupid like our government. Why would you want to lose something that you make in the country? Exactly. You know, not to mention it's not just to mention the jobs, but again, as we both pointed out, you know, it makes sense if you can produce it here. Why stop producing something here when it will cost an arm and a leg just to bring it in? You know. That, you know, the likes of other countries would like nothing more for our British steel to die, and then we buy their steel instead. They would love nothing more to do that. They would like nothing more to do that, for sure. Just saying, guys, as well, because we have gone. We've got one more story to see ourselves out, but just want to say, I know it's been a bit of a bumpy live stream, but I did have a super chat goal. We're not going to hit it tonight, but if anyone wants to help contribute towards the super chat goal, it'll be greatly appreciated, of course. Yeah, do consider joining the YouTube membership if you can. Financially support in any way, shape, or form as well. Get access to custom emojis, get access to the members' posts, and you also get access to early short videos that I normally put out over the next couple of days. You get straight away access for them if you're a top tier YouTube member as well. So thank you to everyone who is a YouTube member. It's greatly appreciated. But yeah, if anyone wants to help contribute to tonight's goal, just a reminder, I don't monetize my live streams. So I do not make any money from any advertisement from live streams at all. So just for reference there. Good morning, Steve McMahon. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. You can't compare with China on price. I'm assuming most English construction companies are using Chinese English construction companies are using Chinese steel. No, we're using British steel. Most of the steel is from here. It's from the UK, from our British steel. Tata Steel, Scottish Steel, and Tata Steel in Wales. British Steel. What's the name of the company in Scotland, Dave McGuinness, my friend? We want to protect. We use our own steel. We don't really import as much there. Oh, we do. Sorry, correct me. My apologies. We already buy most constructive strength steel from China. Shows what I know there. Thank you for correcting me. Appreciate it. has a lot to answer for. I think my dad would remember the good old days when he and his other colleagues would make the fecking steel. That bitch Thatcher, has a lot to answer for. Unfortunately, she's dead. We can't do anything about her now at this point, I'm afraid. Thank you, Stephen Morn, for the 20 New Zealand dollars. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for your support, my friend. It's good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. I hope you have a good week, whatever your plans are this week. So thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate that. Indeed. Right, guys. This last story is from Barline Times. I think you kind of know the gist of this story, but let's dive a little bit more into it here. So we already know about Kemi Baganot's position when it comes to net zero, but Barline Times decided to go a little bit further, guys. So Kemi Baganot's campaign for North Sea drilling at a company owned by oil and gas executives who donated £250,000 to the Conservatives. Oh, what a surprise! Not. The Conservative Party, which calls the government's plans for replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy crazy, has also taken millions of pounds from funders and directors of anti-net zero lobbying groups. I mean, we kind of knew that this was already happening with the Conservatives. Obviously, we didn't know the numbers. And obviously, the Barline Times have found out the numbers. But the thing is that the Conservatives lost so much money after they got hammered at the general election. And in a desperation to bring in money, they were willing to sacrifice whatever founding policies, whatever principles they had in order to get more money back into their coffers. And the opportunity to take in loads of oil and gas money in order to fund their coffers, to fund their party, they've taken it with both hands. And now they've completely abandoned their pledges that they've had in the past, all for the sake of more money in their party's coffers. That's exactly what they've done. They have betrayed a lot of Conservative voters with this position. There are a lot of Conservative voters who are there are Conservative voters who are upset with this position. I think there are. It doesn't mean that necessarily they're going to turn to Labour or necessarily turn to the Greens. I don't know how many of them on this policy alone switch from Conservatives to Reform, but I'm going to imagine it's probably highly unlikely. But I think for people who really do care a lot about the environment, considering the language that you've been consistently hearing out of Kemi Baganot, it really does put people off voting Conservative if you're somebody who cares very much about the climate. Not so much about environment, but the climate change policy there. 70% of all steel used in construction in Britain comes from China. Thank you for that reminder. Port Talbot is closest to McGuinness, yeah. I worked in steels and we get most of it from Celia in Wales, says blah blah. Then again, the MP used to be my dad's shop steward and then followed to the management. I wish I could remember his name. What steel we have left now, we need to protect it. We need to protect it. Can't rely, this is the thing, right? China at any point can say no to us. They can say at any point a no to us. Just like they can with every other country. You do not want to be at the whims of others. If you can produce it yourself, you do not want to be at the whims of others. Look at this. She's so proud of it as well. Kemi Baganot last Wednesday continued her Fuel Britannia campaign to extract every last drop of oil and gas from the North Sea by visiting the companies whose owner has donated more than £250,000 to the Conservatives since she became its leader. Baganot, who has promised to scrap what she describes as government crazy plans to reach net zero by replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy, was pictured visiting the Well Safe Protector oil rig in Aberdeen. Oh, I'm sure my friends in Scotland were very happy to see her there. Well, I know, I'm just joking, guys. Well Safe non-executive chairman and majority shareholder is Alistair Lockie, who has donated more than £250,000 to the Conservative Party since Baganot became its leader in November 2024. Baganot spent the past week campaigning for the government to drop its plans to reach net zero while expanding drilling for oil and gas in the North Sea, despite admitting on Sunday that it would not directly reduce consumers' bills. So, So, you know, she even knows it's not going to make a difference to people's bills. But it's like, we've got to protect the oil and gas industry, you guys. But how does that help people's bills then? We still got to protect it, guys. We've got to protect our fat cat and friends who give, you know, it's not like they give me lots of money. It's not like they give me lots of money. This is proof that you can buy the Conservative Party, if we didn't already know. Pushed by Laura Queensberg, the Conservative leader admitted that handling new licenses for drilling isn't going to go directly onto people's bills, but suggested that it would boost the economy and jobs. How many times do we have to say this? How many times do we have to tell people that no matter how much drill baby drill that you do, it's not going into our fucking economy. It's not. It's going onto the global market. It's not going in Scottish coffers. It's not going into Westminster's coffers. It's not going into any of our coffers. It's going on the global market. It does nothing for any of us. Nothing. Now, if it was nationalized, if all those companies were nationalized by us, then I'd be having a very different conversation right now. But we're not going to do that, because if we did, we'd probably get invaded by the United States, because they'd be very angry about the fact that we wouldn't be helping the petrodollar out. I'm just saying, never rule out a possibility of being invaded by the Americans if we ever try to switch away from the petrodollar with regards to this. Just never rule that out, guys. Never rule that out. We didn't know she was here. No press. We didn't know she was here. No press covered her visit. Of course, she did it under the cover of darkness. She used. I'll tell you what. She definitely didn't take the train. I can assure you of that, David. I'll tell you what she did. She probably took a private jet and then a black car and whatever, you know, so that nobody saw her coming through at all. Her campaign began after she accepted a £7,500 retreat at the home of another Conservative donor who chairs the climate-denying Net Zero Watch lobbying group. Neil Record, who has questioned the scientific consensus on man-made climate change, also donated £10,000 personally to Bagonot's Conservative leadership campaign, while allowing her use of his London home to help her campaign. Records also funded the linked Tufton Street-based organisation, the Global Warming Policy Foundation, whose funders and directors have collectively donated more than $7 million to the Conservative Party. Other politicians have received funding from the records include the Conservative Minister Andrea Jenkins, whose failed attempt to hold onto her seat at the last general election was funded by Record before she defected to Reform Russia, where she has campaigned against both net zero and the construction of a solar panel farm in Lincolnshire. Yeah, bitch. Neither Net Zero Watch nor the GWPF declared their fundings that they have denied connections to the fossil fuel industry. However, US tax records previously revealed that the GWPF have received funding from groups with oil and gas interests. Several other members of Bagonot's shadow cabinet also have connections to funders of the GWPF. And hence, this is why there is not a new, fresh bunch of faces in the shadow cabinet, because they're all on the same bloody payroll. Bagonot's shadow housing secretary, James Not So Cleverly, and her dumbass foreign secretary, Pretty the Vampire Patel, both previously received a £10,000 donation from the hedge fund executive, Michael Hisley, who funded the GWPH. Following the donations, Patel called on former Conservative Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to scrap the government's net zero plans, saying the public are not ready to make changes necessary to reach the target. Because, and here's the thing, right? Rishi Sunak has all the money in the world, so you couldn't bribe him because he was already filthy rich. Which is why he never changed his position. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't watch his live streams. I watch his videos, Pagan. It's better to watch his videos than his live streams. it's very time consuming to watch these live streams personally, because they go on for hours. Like you're talking at all sorts levels of time you're giving to Vosh's live streams. I used to do it a long time ago, but then I stopped doing it. Good to see you there. What's Giles said there? Successive governments have removed funds from fossil fuel industries and applied those funds in renewable energy. This situation in Iran will only accelerate the situation. And some people I talk with ask why are political parties here banned from receiving any donations. Tells you everything you need to know. Richard Cabin, that's it. I remember my brother telling me that Cabin asked, "Do you know who I am?" He replied, "You're the cunt who cost my dad his job." Damn it. Evening all, Mithral's daughter here. Just thought I'd pop in and let you know Mithril isn't on because he's currently in the hospital. I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that being shared. Please, obviously you don't need to disclose what it is, but just on behalf of myself, really, and everyone here in the chat, please send our love to him, and we hope that he gets better soon. There's I appreciate that very, very much. Let's hope thoughts and prayers, of course, for Mithril. I really hope it's nothing serious. Hope he's okay. I hope he gets through whatever it is, and hopefully we will hear from him very, very soon. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. On behalf of everyone here in the chat. I still can't make super chats on this channel, so Steve McGuinness. Don't know why, but it's fine. It's fine, David. If you can't, don't worry about it. You talk about Israel police blocking the carnival from road and doing mass in some important church in Jerusalem or something. Yeah, they'll do a video on it. I'll wait for the video on it. Yeah, we're all sending our love. Mithral's daughter. We're all sending our love. We really do appreciate that. So thank you so much for sharing that. Much appreciated. So thank you for giving the time to share that. Of course. Very, very, very important indeed. So, guys, we have come to the yes, love, of course, to Mithril. Love, of course. Guys, we're coming to the end of the show, but we've got one more video to see ourselves out. Guys, we're going to end with a funny video because I think we need some humour anyway. But also, if you guys are interested, I'm going to be on the Discord at the end of this live stream. So if you want to come onto Discord and say hello and have a little bit of a chat for a little bit, you can do. I'll be on there after this live stream just for a little bit. So if you want to come on and hang out for a little bit and just talk about whatever, you can do as well. So here is... Here is the funny video I wanted to share with you guys. It actually did. Oh, thank God I didn't press the live button there. It actually did really, really well actually, but absolutely hilarious here. So this is basically someone pretending to be America and someone pretending to be Iran about the Strait of Hormuz. There's so many of these videos. This ain't an AI one. There's lots of AI videos by Iran mocking Donald Trump and whatnot. But yeah, this one is really, really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this here.
What are you doing? I was playing soldier. It's my understanding you wish to speak. For you to open the strait. It's open. Nothing blocking it. Right, but it's scary. It's scary. Okay, well, you have 48 hours. You have 48 hours. 48 hours to do what? To open it. Well, as I said, it's open. So, I was thinking, maybe we could run it together. The strait, we could run it together. But I already run it. But like you and me could run it together. But I already run it. I ran and continue to run it. Yeah, but I could help. No, thank you. Well, then you have 5 days. That many. To open it. 2 minutes ago, I only had 48 hours. I was being magnanimous. 5 days. Isn't that when your soldiers arrive on that ship? Maybe, yeah. Well, if that's it, I guess I'll be going. Perhaps you should stop playing soldier and find a different game to play. Oh.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's a fucking joke. Absolute fucking joke. But it is a joke, but at the same time, people are dying. You know, people are dying that did not need to die in this pathetic war. And it is a pathetic, illegal war that no one voted for, no one asked for. It really, really is. Oh, well, apart from Israel, of course. But, yeah. Dumbass is sending more troops to the Straits. Yeah, we know. We wish Trump was so polite. Yeah. Donald Trump's actually a lot more. It's not like that. Trump polite. Are you joking? He's a modern day Nazi, says Sheffield. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Indeed, thank you, Stephen Morn, for the super chat tonight. So it wasn't completely for nothing. No, I'm joking. Even if I don't get any super chats, I really appreciate you guys coming out. A lovely bunch of people turned out tonight. You had a good number of people turn out tonight, so I appreciate you guys. I'll be back live tomorrow with another good morning show at 11 a.m. If you can join me for that, please do. If you can. I'm not sure if Witchy Goth is going to go live tomorrow or not, but if she does go live, she'll let us know tomorrow morning for sure. Hopefully she'll be feeling a lot better as well. We only got one live stream tomorrow, but on Wednesday, guys, there'll be a double live stream. There's no Prime Minister's questions this Wednesday, so it'll just be a good morning show, and then we're going to watch along there, guys. So just for reference there as well. But appreciate all the comments and feedback. But luckily, the internet did not kill the live stream completely. Blame the water. But yeah, if you want to come and chat on Discord for a little bit, you can do. I'll be on there in just a moment. But on your way out, if you can for me, please hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't to already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content. Oh, I will be recording them tomorrow, Rumble and Patreon. Just haven't been able to catch up with them today, guys. But I will be recording them tomorrow. So thank you all so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.